Our first example here is Sally has 50 hair ties. Jane has 10 hair ties. What is the ratio of Sally's hair ties to Jane's hair ties? So we want to write this as a ratio, and then we're going to simplify the ratio. So we want to know Sally's hair ties first. And we see here Sally has 50 hair ties. So I'm going to say 50. And then as a ratio, we're going to do a 2 dots. And we want Sally's hair ties to, that's what the dots are, to Jane's hair ties. And Jane has 10. So 50 to 10 is how we read that. So we want to simplify that as much as possible. And how that looks is, it's very similar to writing it this way. 50 divided by 10. And how do we simplify 50 divided by 10? We divide the top and bottom by 10. So we get 5 over 1. And we're going to write that the same way over here. 5 to 1. And that's the simplest form of the ratio. It's just easier to read. So make sure if you write a ratio, you simplify it. Okay, let's go to number 2. It's very similar, but it's a little different. It says Sally has 50 hair ties. Jane has 10 hair ties. If Sally gets 10 more hair ties, what is the new ratio of Sally's hair ties to Jane's hair ties? So now Sally is getting 10 more hair ties. So Sally has 50 plus 10. So Sally has 60. But Jane still has 10. So we need to write that as a ratio. So it's 60 to 10. And just like above, we want to simplify that. And now that we know how, it's pretty easy. It's going to be 6 to 1. We're going to divide both of them by 10 to get 6 to 1. And there's our answer. Now, one more example while I have you is what ratios could have the simplest form 9 over 5 or 9/5? And how there's actually infinite different ratios that could have the simplest form 9/5, and let me show you how to find them. So if I take 9/5 and I multiply the top by 2 and the bottom by 2, it has to be by the same number. 9 times 2 is 18. 5 times 2 is 10. So 18 over 10. That ratio has the simplest form 9/5. We would just divide the numerator and the denominator by 2. And we can do that again. We can do 9/5 times, let's do times 3. Why not? 9 times 3 is 27. 5 times 3 is 15. This is another ratio that could have the simplest form 9/5. And you could do it with any number. We can do 9/5 times, let's do 9. 9 times 9 is 81. 5 times 9 is 45. Here's another ratio. That simplest form is 9/5. You would just divide 81 over 45 by 9. So there's infinite different ones. Just make sure that the numerator and the denominator are divisible by a number. And when you divide them, you get 9/5. Okay, and that's it for this module. Great.